So recently I went to the park with my wife and she almost got into a fight with another mom. So when we got to the park, we went to a certain playground and we decided that I was going to watch the older kids and she was going to watch the little one. The little one is 2 years old and the older ones are 6 and 9 years old. So as I was watching them and my wife was watching the other one, some other little boy was at the playground. And immediately that boy ran to us and was trying to play with the kids or just trying to talk to me or my wife. And I was trying to see who was the parent of this kid, and I couldn't figure out who it was because there were just an older couple with their grandchild, I would assume, and then 2 other moms with a baby. So it had to be one of the 2 moms, but I didn't know which one it was because they were just talking the whole time and, whatever, chatting it up and looking at the baby. So eventually this kid just keeps on sticking like glue to my kids. Doesn't matter which one, except for the older one. He wasn't gravitating towards my 9-year-old. He was more towards the 6 and 2-year-old. And my 6-year-old decided to play with them. So I'm like, okay, cool. They're going to get along. And they were. They were playing. They were getting along fine. But one of the red flags I noticed immediately was when we got there, he was trying to take stuff away from my kids' hands. And my wife and I are the type of parents who will tell a kid not to do that. I mean, if you're taking something from my kid, I'm going to tell you don't do that. Because I'm sticking up for my kid, especially if they're little. A 2-year-old. How are you going to take something from a 2-year-old? And usually it'll stop. That'll be enough. And the kid did stop, and they kept on playing, so that was fine. And then eventually, my 6-year-old and this kid are running around on the playground, and somehow the 5-year-old, I don't know where he got it from, probably his mom, and I didn't see who his mom was, but he got a red ball, and I thought they were going to play catch. So I'm like, okay, cool. My daughter at the time said, okay, Dad, I'm thirsty. Can I get some water? So I took her to get some water. And as I was going to get some water, I guess the boy threw the ball at my kid's face. And so my son was walking away and rubbing his face, and my wife said what happened, and he told her that the boy threw the ball in his face. So my wife just told him, okay, just stay away from that boy because he's not being nice. So okay, he stood away from him, fine. And as the time progressed, as my son starts playing with my daughter, the 9-year-old, they're not anywhere near this boy. The boy gravitates towards the 2-year-old with my wife. And as my 2-year-old is just standing on the playground playing around, this boy gets wood chips and throws it at my boy's face. My wife said no, immediately no. She put her foot down and said, don't do that. Don't do that to him. So the little boy walked away. And not 5 minutes later, this little boy comes back and he tried to push my son, my 2-year-old, off of the playground. And that's when my wife just laid it down. She said, no, don't do that, stay away from him. And it was in that tone. And that's when the mom appeared. Because this whole time we didn't know who his mom was. And it was one of the 2 ladies that were talking the whole time. And she tells my wife, well, you don't have to be so aggressive. And she said, yes, I do, because he was almost pushing my son off the playground. And she and my wife says, you need to watch your kid. And the lady snaps back, I am watching him. She wasn't. She was talking to her friend the whole time. And she said, well, that's just what kids do. And my wife says, no, they don't. Not with my kids. They're not going to do that to my kids. So after this lady was like, oh, well, you know what? Maybe you should just leave. And my wife's like, no, I'm fine here. You can leave. And then it just went back and forth. No, you can leave, you can leave. And then they just kind of just stopped talking. After that, this mom took the son and now was watching him. And this boy started throwing wood chips at the baby that was there with them. And that's when she was like, no, we can't do that. That's when she started parenting after the fact. After my wife had to be a little stern with him because he was being mean to our kids. So, yeah, and it just, luckily it dissipated. It just wore away. And the lady left. And we left the playground after that too. But that's the story of how my wife, stuck up for our kids and almost got into a fight with another mom. And it was just nuts because I was there and saw the whole thing. And this lady was not watching her kid. And how do you guys feel about it? Do you guys feel that we were in the right, in the wrong? If someone's being mean to your kid, how do you handle it? I mean, we didn't touch the kid. We were trying to correct them and tell them not to leave our kids alone, essentially. So how would you handle that situation?